Today's January 16th. We got back from Wodapalooza yesterday. We had a bunch of athletes, individual, team, competing. In the last episode of the session, we had Team TTTW, which was Travis, Will, and Noah, finish the barbell complex portion of the finale, which was 9 hang power cleans at 275, 9 front squats at 275, 9 shoulder to overhead at 275, 6 hang cleans at 295, 6 front squats at 295, 6 shoulder to overhead at 295, 3 hang power cleans at 315, 3 front squat at 315, and 3 shoulder to overhead at 315. What we're gonna do is we're gonna overlay their practice run and their actual game day execution. I'm gonna voice over just talking about how those executions were different in practice and on game day. I asked them all to strategize on the day that they actually did their practice run. It was funny because I think individual athletes and team athletes strategize really differently, because a lot of what an individual athlete does is by feel. And a lot of that comes from experience and practice and knowing what their fatigue's like, and when a weight is at a certain load, they know like, okay, this is what I have to feel like to be able to repeat this. But in a team format, that doesn't really work. So I come out onto the floor, and they had been out there for like 45 minutes. I thought they were gonna have warmed up and strategized, and they had gotten nowhere. They were all warmed up and anxious and ready to go, and they had no plan in place. So what I did was I took them up on the board. We worked backwards, figuring, okay, well, Will has an over 400-pound jerk, has awesome shoulder to overhead capacity, so he really needs to be the closer on probably the 295 overhead and definitely the 315 overhead. Based on where Noah's training was and where Travis's training was, we knew that Travis probably needed to be the closer in the 315 barbell for the cleans and the front squats. So which means, okay, we need to figure out how to keep his legs a little bit more fresh. And as we kept working back, the strategy we came down to was Will comes out, does 3 hang power cleans, Noah does 3 hang power cleans, Travis does 3 hang power cleans plus 3 front squats, Will comes out, does 3 front squats, Noah does 3 front squats, and then goes into the jerks and hits 4. Will closes out with 5 shoulder to overhead. Travis comes out, does 5 hang cleans. Noah comes out, does a hang clean, finishes the front squats. Then Will comes up, picks it up, does all the jerks at 295. Travis goes back out, finishes all the hang cleans, all the front squats at 315, and then Will comes out and closes it. So obviously, when you're planning a practice setting, they're coming through their taper. They might, at that point in the taper, their energy might be like actually a little bit down because you lower volume a little bit, and they're not really like fired up and excited, and you want fatigue to go down. So usually if you do strength pieces 4 or 5 days out from a competition, they're actually not feeling their strongest. Travis was also coming off of the Dubai championship, and he had a big deload after that, so his training leading up was not really peaked and focused for this. So he wasn't sure where his strength was going to be. So our practice run was really to get insight into how we were going to strategize this, instead of thinking that this was going to be the perfect and optimal strategy. So by the time we actually got to the competition was pretty tough on the legs, pretty tough on the back. Travis's back cramped up on the partner deadlifts, which is something that he normally doesn't experience, so he didn't know how he was going to feel. This was Will's first competition back after a year off and after a pretty serious health scare after last year's Wodapalooza. So at the end of the weekend, you have all these strategies in place that you had talked about, but actually executing on them and having the ability to make adjustments on the fly if necessary is a really important part of team competition. So I'm going to actually watch. We have the 2 videos chopped up on the screen at the same time playing. When we tested the workout, we didn't know that they would have to switch out their weights. So we tried to organize it so that the pauses lined up and they were grabbing the bar at about the same time so that it can account for some of that weight change. But as I'm talking through it, I'll kind of walk through where they are in both of the workouts.
3, 2, 1, go.
So here they are, Will's approaching the bar like we talked about, plan 3 hang cleans. You see, they're already off schedule. You don't think about those little seconds of him being on the opposite side of the barbell and having to step over it as being meaningful. But on game day, those little things make a huge difference in terms of total time. Same thing with Noah there, just stepping over and getting set. It takes more time than where we ran it up. So that's why it's super valuable for the athletes to know exactly how it's laid out if they want to optimize, but we didn't have the workout ahead of time exactly as it was written or the layout, so it just ended up being what it was. So Trav's here finishing out the 275 bar, goes into his front squats. They're pretty tight on their schedule, or from workout practice to actual competition, they're pretty close to where they are. Comes out, he does his 3 front squats. And then Noah's coming up to get the front squats finished off and go into some of the jerks. Picks the barbell up here, gets it racked and gets set. His cadence, you can see on game day, he's just a really good competitor. His cadence is a little faster. And he's obviously a little bit more fired up, so he's just a little stronger with the barbell. A lot more confident and aggressive. He did an extra one, so that was one of the major changes that we made from the practice, was just to do an extra jerk to just make sure. You'll see in the practice run, Will gets a no rep on one of his jerks, so we tried to save his overhead just a little bit, and Noah felt really confident he could take more of them, so we had him do a little bit more, but it's pretty much the same amount of time. You'll see practice finishes, actual finish right there. Then Travis comes up to 295. We pause it now in the practice run because we didn't know about the weight change. Noah did the weight change, obviously, because Will had just finished the work and Travis was going to step up. So Travis is resting right now. We thought Noah was the best person to make the weight change. Now Travis comes up. We try to sync the videos right back up at around the same time. So now they get on. Goal here is just to do 5, which is exactly what Trav did. He was looking real strong. He was a little concerned about his back after the cramping episode that he had, but it ended up not being an issue. He was an ox and moved the weight good. Then Noah comes up. The great thing about working with Noah is I think a lot of people, they wait for a coach to tell them what to do. Noah's super proactive, so he did a lot of work on this. You'll watch him rest the barbell in his hip and then throw it up there. He did a lot of work on his own in his own training session to figure out how to optimize that technique, which made the hang clean, the hang power clean a lot easier for him. And you'll see he only does 4 front squats before Will has to come in the practice there, and he finishes them out on game day there, which was the major time sink for us, we felt, because Will had to come up, he had to do these 2 front squats in practice and then go into the jerks, and I end up no repping him on the last jerk, which is a lot of wasted time. So you'll see in the game day, Will's finishing up his last jerk right here. And then you'll see in practice on the top, he does that. He didn't really get set. He knows it's kind of sketchy. I said no rep. I pointed to Noah. Now Noah's got to come out, and he's got to finish that jerk. We left it playing at the same time because they still had to change the weight out on game day. So game day, Noah's changing the weight out. Then Noah comes up here. He basically just has to do 1 split jerk to finish out that barbell. And then Travis comes up to the 315. And now the 2 videos are relatively close to synced up. Trav was feeling pretty strong right here. Gets his hang power clean. Goes into a hang squat clean there. The video angle, that's the best we could get. We didn't have a media pass or anything. So Chris is in the stands there. You can see the whole workout, but obviously you can't see what's going on in Trav's lower body, but he finishes out all the squats. This ends up being actually a really big positive part of the workout, just because we didn't really know how it would feel. And then Will does his little bear call before he lifts heavy weights. power cleans it up, finishes the 3 split jerks. And that was about as perfectly of an executed workout as it could have been. Even you just see Noah's mouth right there scream, that was perfect. And it really was. I mean, it was really cool to watch that happen. So for the TTTW team, I mean, honestly, I don't like losing, but it's part of sport. And I know they don't like losing, so they're not super thrilled about it. But there were a lot of pretty positive takeaways. I mean, I think it was just fun. I got to stay with Will and Trav. We had a lot of laughs. It was really cool to watch them get together and be part of a team dynamic. To answer the questions, no, Noah and Travis are not going team. I just wanted them a little bit more fresh for the CrossFit season. I wanted to get Will a positive experience because he had a really bad health scare at Wodapalooza last year. So to be able to get back into a competitive environment with a little bit less pressure, I thought would be a good thing. And he's been training partners with Travis for years, so they have a pretty good friendship and camaraderie. And then now bringing him and wrapping that back up into Noah being part of that and them being able to train for the CrossFit season it was a pretty cool experience. Now, there were so many things. I think from just people want to know how I feel about it because, we went out there to win. I mean, you put 2 multiple-time games athletes and a one-time games athlete on the same team that have relatively good communication. Like, we went out there to win. So taking second place just, it sucks. Like, you don't want to be super greedy and say like, oh, second sucks because, third and every other spot behind that is worse. But it was so close. And, not to take anything away from the Canadians because they crushed it and they executed really well and they were, neck and neck the entire race. There were just so many little things throughout the weekend that ended up being the difference between winning and losing. And all the way up until the final workout, the final seconds of the workouts. Will goes back out for his second time doing thrusters. He goes ballistic on the rope climbs, gets his 9 burpees done, goes up, cleans the barbell, gets a thruster, goes down for his second thruster, gets a no rep, goes down for his third thruster, bar falls out of his hands, and that's the end of the workout. Now that one no rep at the end of the workout was the difference of 12 points because of how many people were jammed up in total points, and they end up losing by 4 points. And that's just something I try to get athletes to understand is like the margin of error between winning and losing at that level is that much all the time. And people focus on, hey, what program are you following? What are you doing for strength work? What are you doing for your Metcons? But really the level of focus that you need to have on every single detail of every single competitive event, if you want to end a weekend on the top of a podium, is probably the most important variable for these guys. So as painful as that type of experience is, it could be a million times worse. I mean, I left last year questioning whether or not I wanted to be a coach because Will was in the hospital. We didn't know what his health status was. So to come home, all of them are healthy, all of them are ready to go for a good competitive season, and having a little bit of that chip on their shoulder, I think it's going to end up being a really good thing in the long run. But, it never feels great when you don't win. They had some events that didn't go perfectly, but they also had some events that they absolutely destroyed. The swim workout specifically, they were the only team to finish, and they were like way farther ahead of the rest of the teams. That doesn't really show up on the scoreboard because, if there's a huge discrepancy between first and second, the points are still the same, but they absolutely destroyed that. And that was cool because that's something that is a primary focus for anybody that wants to get to the games, is to ensure that they can swim well, and strongman as a part of that, paired with high volume squatting. Like, that's just a good thing to be good at a games level. One of Noah's priorities was to run well, and to be able to finish 1-1 on the 2 runs as a team was something that was really beneficial. And Noah was basically right up on Travis to finish the run event and know that, okay, this run preparation development is working in his off season. That was a good confidence booster. The complex went as perfectly as possible. I think they had some other event wins mixed in there, but it was just overall a really good weekend. And it just happened that that other team had a little bit better of a weekend to take the win. So I guess my overall thoughts on Wodapalooza as an organization were awesome. I got to meet a bunch of the people that are athletes for Training Think Tank. I think we had 47 total athletes competing in all different divisions. It's a really difficult environment to coach in general, just because people are on all different stages. The times don't go exactly as the schedule lays out. Sometimes you miss your athlete going, but it was really cool to know that our entire community kind of pulled together. And if I missed an event with one of my athletes, one of my coaches probably saw it and gave me an update. We had a nice base camp set up with 2 tents where people like hung out. Overall, I think it was just a really awesome, positive experience. I left there obviously tired because I'm introverted, and the noise and the crowds and people coming up to me and talking and pictures is just stressful for me. I wish I wasn't that soft, but it is true. But I left there being just really grateful and really happy to have that many high quality humans representing something that was just an idea in my head 4 years ago. So thank you to all of our athletes, and for anybody watching this, thanks for caring about what we put out.